Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on this call. We actually planned this press conference for November 1st to announce Otto Wallin as the interim WBC world champion, returning to New York City after his win against Dillian Whyte. But things went a bit astray. I do want to say that it takes a tremendous amount of effort, certainly during this time in Corona, to conduct a world-class training camp in New York City. We had to get fighters that were vaccinated, make arrangements with gyms that are still not working at full capacity, for food, for hospitality, for training. It takes a tremendous amount of effort and coordination to make sure this happens on a world-class level. So Otto's team and Otto have put in a tremendous amount of work to make this happen. And literally, as Otto was on his way to the airport, we got the sad news that the fight would not be taking place on October 30th. So certainly there are many different elements to the story, and that's why this press conference is so relevant. And I'm so grateful that the boxing press is here to give this the coverage that it deserves, because we feel that this particular event is bigger than the fight itself, although a heavyweight world title fight is one of the biggest sporting events in the world of sports, not only in the world of boxing. The WBC made an announcement that the WBC interim champion will fight the winner of Fury versus Wilder. That announcement was made when Otto Wallin versus Dillian Whyte was already announced, signed, sealed, and delivered. And certainly, no one knows the outcome of the fight. So I think that even the fight I think had a 1-2 odds, but certainly Otto was a possible winner of that fight, and if he was, he would have the opportunity to fight the winner of Wallin versus Fury. So by default, we feel that he had the rights that the rights of the WBC statement up until the decision of the fight happened. So that there's that element, which is really most important. And the other element is that fighters get injured in training. It's part of boxing. I have fought most of my life as an amateur and as a pro, and had 38 professional fights. I do know that heavyweights don't have to make weight, and really about 10 days before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight, they really start tuning down their training and training a lot less and a lot less intensely, just to get their strength back from the rigorous training camp that they went through. And I know that Dillian has been in training camp for a long time, looks like in Spain. And so it would really make sense that 2 weeks before the fight, he would tune things down. So, this is a big fight and a big opportunity. And with the announcement of WBC, Otto is a world-class athlete. More importantly than that, he's a human being, not an interchangeable robot, where that can just be, once the announcement is made, and whatever happens to the other side, whether anything that prevents the fight from taking place, every training camp is a lifetime, and once that announcement was made, obviously the fact that Otto could be a winner was taken into consideration. So we feel that it's very important that the right decision comes forth, and that the winner of the fight of Wallin and Whyte fights Tyson Fury, and that will set a precedence for the sports world. And boxing has taken some very good and important steps over the last several months, and this would if Otto is not given his right, we feel that it would take this would bring the sport back many years, because there's no care for basic human right. There's no care for what a world-class athlete has to go through, and this is such an important issue that, again, is bigger than the fight. As big as this fight is, and as big as this opportunity is bigger than the fight. So I think I'm done with the introduction, and we'd love to take for Otto, obviously, to say what he wants to say, and for the press really to voice their concerns and ask the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Dmitriy. Otto, again, obviously disappointed. If you want to talk a little bit about the training camp, your reaction. I know you've been hit up quite a bit yourself personally, so to address some of these questions that you might have gotten, we'll start with that, and then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, so as Dmitriy said, I was, done packing and everything. I was gonna head out to the airport, and then get the text that no, don't board that flight because we don't know what's gonna happen. Dillian Whyte says he has an injury, and he's gonna see a doctor, and then we know for sure. So it was very frustrating. I mean, I've been going through training now for a period of time, and I've had injuries in this camp, but I just kept going, kept pushing forward because this was a fight that's a huge opportunity for me and something I really wanted. I feel like I can beat Whyte and earn my shot to fight Fury again. And so it's very frustrating. But I don't know if Dillian is injured or not, but we just want to know that we have all the facts, and so far we haven't got any facts at all. They've sent us a statement saying that he's injured and he's had a doctor look at him, but nothing more than that. So we want to find out the facts and see if he's injured, and want to talk to his doctor and have an independent doctor look at him. And I feel like that would be very important, but so far there's been no efforts on their end to help us with that. So we want to find that out and then make sure the fight gets rescheduled.
And that request had been made, correct, for an independent MRI doctor to take a look, but have not heard back, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And, and I do want to add, first of all, we feel that not only we feel, but the truth is that the press has a lot of power, and the press's responsibility is not only to promote fights, but also to improve our sport. And when wrong is done, to talk about the right that has to be done. And Otto Wallin is a very qualified, world-class fighter. There was a lot of anticipation, a lot of interest in this fight, really because of how great Otto did against Tyson Fury, better than anybody else. Tyson Fury is a great champion, beat a lot of, the best fighters in the world today he beat. And Otto Wallin landed more punches against Tyson Fury than Vladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder in their first fight put together. Not in each single fight, put together. And he cut him over his eye, and he just did a fantastic job. And after that, he had 2 great quality wins. He's gotten better. So objectively, Otto Wallin, in my opinion, certainly after a win over Dillian Whyte, would be the number 2 heavyweight in the world. And the only man really that has a chance to defeat the reigning heavyweight king in Tyson Fury. So, even though it doesn't really matter for the purposes of the argument of Otto's accomplishment prior to the fight, but many, and I believe, certainly folks in Team Whyte, because it's not really a secret, believe that Otto had a great chance to win, and he was going to England, he was going to London, to Whyte's hometown, and put himself under that pressure, and we feel that he's been really dealt an unjust card, and it's very important that the media sees this objectively, and that's why I urge you guys to ask objective, honest questions, and we're going to give you our answers to the best of our opinion. But it's very important that light is shown on this, and the reason why we have sanction bodies and the reason why we have rules. Everybody has problems in their life, everybody has situations, but the rules exist so that we can have proper social conduct, so we can engage in sport according to certain perimeters and restrictions. And we feel what happened is unjust to the sport of boxing. It's certainly unjust to Otto as an individual, but it's an unjust situation to the sport of boxing. And we just want the right thing to happen. And the great equalizer and the great partner of the truth is the ring. So let the best man win. And both of these guys have a chance to see who that best man is. So I think, at this point, we're ready to take some questions.
Thanks, Dmitry. We're going to go in order. I did drop that into the chat. I see some names that I'm not seeing here and some that are. So is Wally Downs from The Sun? Is Wally on? Great. We'll go to Tris Dixon from Ring. Tris, I see you. Just make sure you unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Otto, so who called you to say that Whyte was out of the fight?
I got an email from my manager, I think it was, and then a text from Zach, my other manager, and he said, "Don't go on that flight. Check your emails," and that was it.
And have you been told the fight is postponed or cancelled?
No, but we want it postponed, of course, but we haven't heard on that yet.
Yeah, of course. Do you think that the WBC's ruling, do you think that they should have just allowed the fight to have gone on and not said anything until after the fight?
I think Dmitriy might be able to answer that better.
Tris, what is your question? Your question is about the fact that they ruled for the WBC interim champion to fight the winner of Fury versus Wilder.
Yes, ahead of time, really, so that.
Well, it's not my place to say what they should have done and when they should have done it. That's up to them. But the fact that is that it's done. So if it's done, it has to take into consideration two people. It can't take. Otto is not a robot. He's not a slave. He's not a. He's a human being. He's a world-class athlete. He has all the rights that everybody has, the same. So once that announcement is made, Otto has the benefits of what that benefit of winning that fight is. He obviously could have won, right? He had a great chance to win. You
got muted.
Dmitriy got muted.
All right. He was not just a stand-in. So with that announcement being made, I think that he deserves the rights and the benefits of that win up until the fight happens. So we feel that he has equal rights of what that announcement entails up until the fight happens.
Sure. Sorry, just one last one. Otto, are you still training?
Yeah, I'm still training. I'm still, working towards my goal, and that's becoming heavyweight world champion. This is a huge step to becoming that. So I'm gonna keep training and stay ready, because I'll be ready when this fight comes.
Tris, think about how disappointing it would be. It's like, you go to, Otto put his whole life into boxing. So it's like you go to college for 20 years of your life. You go to school 8 years, whatever it is, and then you do all the right things to get a certain job, and then they tell you, what, sorry, man, it's not happening. So this is such a powerful statement. I mean, and such a powerful situation that it's very important that the right thing is done here.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks, Tris.
Thank you, Tris. Okay, like I said, it looks like some are on, some aren't. Is James Bell on boxing scene? Now, Jeremy, who spoke with Otto not too long ago from fan side at Edward Fowler.
Hello.
Hey, Ed.
How are you? It's good to be here, part of this press conference. Of course, I was looking forward to watching the fight, like with everybody else in the world, to see Otto winning and showing that, that he is the most powerful man in the world. So maybe we can get to see the rematch between himself and Tyson Fury, which I hope does happen at some point, because, he's the best in the world, I think, better than Tyson Fury is right now. But you got to be disappointed, obviously, because of the news. And, how are you going to try and get this match to happen then?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Since this fight's being postponed or cancelled, then how are you guys going to try and get an answer back to get this fight back up and running as soon as possible once you find out more information about his injury, if you get that information?
Yeah, is that Dmitriy maybe?
Sure. So we've obviously made the request to WBC and to BBFC to take the right steps and the proper steps in getting down to and making a decision on what we feel is the right decision to make, which we talked about early on this call. So we have been in communication with WBC and with the BBFC about these issues.
If you don't get a response from them in the usual time, would you, take some action against them? Will there be like a body, get interfered, and you can go to get the information you need to get?
Every day and really every hour, things are changing. So, when we have all the information and we know that there's a definite decision one way or the other, we'll huddle up as a team and make the right decision going forward. And this is the right decision we're really optimistic that the right decision is going to get made, because we feel that, I certainly feel it as a former fighter and as a lover, most importantly as a lover of the sport of boxing, that our sport is taking the right steps in the right direction to make it a fair sport, to make it a sport where sports fans can turn on network television and know what's going to happen. That it's not that there are rules, and that there are that athletes are fairly treated and boxing fans are fairly treated. So we believe that this is an opportunity to set the tone for something like that. And I do believe that the right result would happen. And if the right result does not happen, we'll review our steps to take the necessary actions to make sure that the sport of boxing, obviously, in this situation, we're talking about Otto specifically, but this is even bigger than him, because the right steps have to be taken that go beyond and over above this fight. And the heavyweight world title is known as the biggest prize in sports, and maybe this particular situation is going to achieve not only success in the ring, but also success for the sport of boxing, with a decision that's going to make that's going to take the sport to the next level in terms of organization and upkeeping of its rules.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edward. I don't see Woodsy on here. Keith, boxing scene. I believe I see Keith on here. Keith, it looks like you're muted if you're trying to speak with us. No? Okay. Keith, if you figure it out, just raise your hand for us. Is Marcos on? No? Jonathan from Pro Boxing Fans? I do see Emil.
Yeah, I'm here. Can I start?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, Jonathan, there you are. All right,
done.
Jonathan, there you go.
Cheers. Dmitry, can I just ask if you had any conversations with Eddie Hearn since we spoke yesterday, 2 days ago?
I did a lot of interviews. I apologize. I don't remember when we spoke, but I've had discussions. I've had some communication with Eddie. Ask me what you want to know, and I'll tell you the information.
Yeah, can you sort of just enlighten us on sort of what he said the situation is from their end in regards to this fight potentially being rescheduled?
From their end, we haven't really heard anything. I mean, we know that it's been posted on the Matchroom website that October 30th fight is canceled, meaning that the card is going on, but this fight is canceled. And we have not heard from them as of yet if they're planning to reschedule it or not.
Okay.
There's a contractual time limit on it, so we'll know. I believe by sometime end of next week.
Okay. Otto, can I just ask sort of the impact this has had on yourself in terms of, I assume the training camp was pretty much complete. It was complete. So just in terms of the impact on yourself, because obviously you would have had to pay for sparring partners, take time out. Can you just sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah. I don't know the exact numbers that we have spent on sparring partners and the training camp, but it can be quite a lot. I'm not sure, but maybe talking 15, 20,000 at least. So it's a lot of money. And apart from that, I mean, more is my time and my career. I mean, I've been training for this fight now where I could have done something else. But this is what I want, and we want this fight rescheduled to make sure it happens. And of course, it's a huge letdown. It's a huge letdown when it happens that they cancel the fight like this. I've been training very hard, and I've had my mind put into this. And, just a simple fact that I haven't seen my family in 2 years. I could have gone home to see them, but no, I've been staying here training to make sure I'll be ready for when this big opportunity comes. I was going to go fight and win this fight and then go back to Sweden and see everybody. It's a little tough when you haven't seen your mom in 2 years. So, it's part of the work, but it's all worth it when you get the big fights and you're achieving your goals. So this is a big letdown.
So and one of the things that I want to add to that is that, athletes have finite careers, and there's only a certain amount of time that you can compete at a high level. It's actually a very short amount of time. And every training camp in any sport, but certainly in boxing, when people hit on you, takes something out of you. I mean, it's you can only do so many. You can only run so many miles. You can only spar so many rounds. You can only spend so many hours in the gym lifting weights. Your body can only take so much. So, every training camp is a life in its own. And the most, and I say this to the boxing fans and certainly to the boxing writers, the most respect should be given to the fighters for putting themselves out there, for putting the most in training camp every time out. And Otto Wallin, you can see in all of his fights, he leaves nothing behind. He takes care of himself. He eats right. He runs in the morning. He goes to the gym. He does everything he's supposed to do. And for this fight, he left no stone unturned. And this is with Corona going on. And again, it's so difficult to get people to come to travel, to get people comfortable to travel. So first of all, you have to pay some people more money to make sure that people have their vaccine so they can come to the gym in New York City. And to house them. Some hotels are closed. Some hotels are not closed. If they don't have a vaccine card, they can eat at certain places. So there's just so much that goes into this. And Zach Levin and Joey Gamache, David Berlin, Otto's training team have done such a great job in coordinating that make all these things happen. And this is such a big opportunity. And, he put so much on the line. And it's so important that the right thing happens here.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. We'll jump back. I'll try Keith one more time. No. Okay. Emil, SVT, sorry.
Hi. I was wondering, Otto, if you had any contact with the Whyte's team so far since the announcement?
Not me personally, but Dmitriy has, and my managers. So Dmitriy can answer that if there's a question.
What have they said so far regarding the injury?
Well, what they said so far regarding the injury is what we read in the press release, that I believe, and I can't recall exactly, but basically to paraphrase, that Dillian Whyte's doctor, I don't know if it's a doctor that he's had for many years, but seemed to be that someone that's familiar with him, looked at the injury and said that he wasn't fit to fight. So what we've asked for is for Dillian Whyte to go to an independent doctor and to look, and to examine if it was an MRI or whatever scans it was. Injuries happen during training. It's part of the sport, certainly part of boxing, which is a very intense sport. And we just want to see the extent of the injury, and just to kind of have knowledge of why, Otto put in tremendous amount of training camp, and when he was on his way to literally the day that he was supposed to travel, on the way to the airport, that this fight got canceled for October 30th. So, it's obviously, again, injuries happen in boxing, and we're not saying anything, but there's just so many circumstances in this particular situation that make it so unsettling that just makes us want to get the truth. And there's a saying that says the truth shall set you free, and all we want is the truth. That's all we want.
Yeah, and I feel like they can easily just show us the doctor's statement, or have an independent doctor look at him to make sure there's no foul play there. And we haven't heard anything, just that he has a shoulder injury, and that's all they've said.
But yeah,
what more can you do to make them give a reasonable shout out to the injury?
Well, I'm sorry. I just want to say that that is very important, and it's one of the important factors in having this fight rescheduled. But the more important factor is that the WBC announced that the WBC interim champion is going to fight the winner of Fury versus Wilder, and they announced it after the fight with Otto Wallin has been signed, sealed, delivered, and announced many weeks, and that means that Otto was part of the equation. And until the fight takes place, there is no definite result of who that person is to fight Tyson Fury. So, in addition to getting to going to the doctor and getting a independent opinion on what the situation is, we feel that regardless of that, the fight should be rescheduled.
Considering that you have been practicing a lot for this, Otto, do you want to still go? Who do you want to fight next week if you can't fight Whyte?
I mean, my focus has just been on him. I haven't thought that much. There's so many loose ends right now. So, you know, this is a huge fight. I want to fight Dillian Whyte because that's my way to the world championship. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
What's the last date? Do you think that it's possible to face him instead of anyone else getting that Fury match?
I mean, we will have to see when they want to reschedule it. I mean, shouldn't take too long, I think, but maybe early next year.
And you made a contact with the WBC to make sure that everything is legal. Have you heard anything new from the WBC since you called them?
Yeah, that's Dmitriy.
We are communicating with the WBC about this situation, and there is no definitive conclusion from their part. But we do hope that it's going to be a positive one, and that they will just reconfirm what the announcement that they made after Whyte versus Wallin was announced, and say that this fight is now rescheduled because Otto Wallin was part of the announcement. He was one of the people that could have won that fight, and therefore by default he had all the benefits of what that announcement entailed.
You said earlier, Otto, that you want to go back home to Sweden. Will you do that now?
Yes, I want to, but right now I'm just trying to stay here and you know, and keep training and be ready. But yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years since I've been home, so I really want to go back when the time comes, when I know for sure that it's not going to be a fight.
A little more FaceTime thing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Emil. Philip, I see you on.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, guys. Of course, it was a big disappointment for us in Sweden when the fight got cancelled last week. But first of all, I'm just wondering, I saw something on Instagram this week from Alan Babic, the Croatian heavyweight who is fighting on the card. He said that he would like to go in and take the main event spot. Has there been any communications from Matchroom Boxing about?
Yeah. Listen, you know what? There's 100 different people that can say, I want to fight Otto Wallin. It's just like 100 people want to say, I want to fight Floyd Mayweather, and I want to fight Sugar Ray Leonard, and I want to fight Mike Tyson. Otto Wallin is a world-class fighter that was supposed to fight Dillian Whyte on October 30th. So the fact that I don't even know this guy's name, the fact that someone says that whatever they say, it's irrelevant, and it's like it's just branding for whoever that person is. I've never heard of this guy that you said before, so it's irrelevant to what is going on. It's irrelevant to what's going on this call, really.
Yeah, and when yeah, of course, but. When you heard the ruling from BBC, did you started to have doubts even before the fight got cancelled, Otto, of they maybe would turn down the fight or have an injury?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Before Otto answers, I do want to intercede. The reason why there's so many red flags is because there have been so many rumors about particularly what happened. I think about what happened. Even Dillian Whyte had quotes that says something along the lines, I could pull out and go straight to Tyson Fury, but I'm a champion and I want to fight, and I can't wait for what Tyson Fury is going to do. I'm going to fight Otto Wallin. And different promoters, different people in the boxing industry said, why is Dillian Whyte taking this fight? It's so difficult. He may lose. Some people say he will lose. Some really high-level people said he will lose. So that is one of the reasons why this is such a an unsettling situation. And that is the reason why the WBC has to say that the winner, as we've said, the winner of Otto Wallin versus Dillian Whyte is going to fight Tyson Fury. That's the reason why they have to say it. And I'm very happy that you asked this question, because this is a precedent that they should set for all really organizations and for all big fights. Because if this does not happen, then this is like the Wild Wild West 300 years ago. People can do whatever they want, and there's really no respect for fighters. If that happens, there's really no respect for Dillian Whyte, because if the same thing would have happened and Dillian Whyte would have been on the other side, he would get the same result. And we're dealing with athletes, we're dealing with human beings, again, that have very finite lives, and that ruling was made by the WBC, and they should live up and step up and say what's right. And I truly believe that this will be a great thing for the sport of boxing on a global level going forward, not just for this fight.
Yeah.
Otto, do you want to comment on that, or did Dmitriy handle that?
I think he handled it well.
Yeah. One question direct to Otto. It has been certain that you're in good shape for this fight, but I was wondering, of course, it's hard during the pandemic to have a high-level fight camp in New York, but explain the feeling about this camp compared to the one you had against Travis Kaufman and Brazil. How was this camp during up to the fight?
I think that every fighter says their camp has been great, but it really has for me. I've got a great team around me that Dmitriy mentioned, Joey, David, Zach, and my other trainers, Rune and Oke in Sweden. So, they make it really work for me. It's tough here in New York now with the COVID situation, but they made sure I have everything I need, and my camp has been great. Since the fight in February against Brazil, there's some things that I see myself doing really good and some things that I can improve on. And I feel like I've been improving on those things. And we've adjusted our training a little bit, and it's really been working. And I've, had 2-3 sparring partners come in, fresh guys with me every time. And I sparred a lot of 12 rounders for this fight. So I was really in a good place, and I'm really in great shape. So I feel like I'm improving even since the Fury fight. It's been 2 years of, more training and more experience. So I feel like I'm in a much better place now. And so that's why it's also so disappointing that this fight is not happening.
Yeah. Just one final question. Dmitriy, you said it before that when it's 2 weeks left to a big fight, you go down in intensity in training and sparring, of course, and the injury came so late. Are you still sparring as much as they maybe have told Dillian that he got it during sparring, the injury? Do you think they still have that intensity in training so you can get injured in that way? What do you think?
I have no idea what kind of training he does. I have no idea what happens in his training camp. I'm just saying that traditionally, heavyweights don't have to make weight. They can eat whatever they want. They don't have to wear plastic. They don't have to sweat to lose weight. So 2 weeks before the fight, you start tuning down. You start regaining your strength, regaining your energy, because, most of the training camp, you train twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. You're exhausted, and you're just building momentum. And then 2 weeks before the fight, you start ascending, back to your peak. So during that period of time, it's very unusual that fighters get injured. Very, very unusual. So, with all these different red flags in this particular situation, that's what makes us so uneasy and so unsettled. And again, this press conference was supposed to take place November 1st when Otto was going to come back from England being the WBC interim world champion. Unfortunately for all, we have to do this press conference to talk about, this fight going sideways and all the different things that led to it. So, Otto was on his way to the airport when this happened, it just doesn't feel comfortable in so many different ways. And all we want is the truth. All we want is the truth. And all we want is WBC to say, yes, we've announced that the winner of Whyte versus Wallin is gonna fight Tyson Fury. So let that fight be rescheduled for whenever Dillian Whyte is healthy. Otto will wait. He'll wait till January, February, March, April, whatever. But the next fight of both guys should be against each other.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Phil. Caesar.
Yeah, hi guys. The first question is there any consequences for Dillian for canceling the fight?
That's a great question. Excellent question. There should be consequence. And the consequence should be to fight Otto Wallin next. He should not be rewarded with being able to go straight to Tyson Fury without following the order of the WBC and participating in that fight, because when WBC made an order that the winner of Whyte versus Wallin is going to fight Tyson Fury, now he instead of being suffering some kind of repercussions, he's maybe rewarded. So we don't want that to happen. We don't think that it's fair for the sport of boxing. We don't feel that that's right for the sports world, and we believe that the press that's on this call should talk about it and I mean, it's not even rocket science. It's just basic human fairness. Should say what's right and demand that the right thing happens. That is really the reason for this press conference, the reason for this call, is to express our frustration and our hope that the right thing happens and the sport of boxing gets elevated to the next level. That not only is this for the heavyweight world title, but this is really for the sport of boxing, for the right rules in the sport of boxing. That's why we have rules to abide by them. Some rules are not based on opinion. Some rules should be, very black and white, and we believe that this is one of those rules.
Otto, you you mentioned your mom there that you haven't. Is it really true that you haven't seen her in 2 years?
Yeah, actually a little less than 2 years, maybe 1.5. She was here with me in New York in March 2020, and right when COVID hit. So she went back, and she actually picked up COVID here, and then she went back. We both had COVID, and so we haven't seen each other since then. And it's been a tough time, and I was scheduled to go fight and see her at the fight, and then go back home with her.
How does that feel to not see your family in 1.5 years and then get robbed of that chance now?
Yeah, I mean it's very frustrating, and it's kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. I think everybody can relate to that. Not seeing your family in such a long time, it's not so easy. So yeah, it's very disappointing.
Mm-hmm. What do you miss most about Sweden and the lovely fall we have here now?
Yeah, I would say my friends and family, of course, and of course my mom's cooking.
That's nice. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Caesar. Joe Lee.
Hi, Otto. I understand it must have been a frustrating last couple of days for you, but how are you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there.
Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you fight Dillian Whyte on October the 30th and you win that and go on to fight the winner of Fury Wilder, obviously, that being Fury. Now that fight's not happening. Let's say Dillian Whyte genuinely has an injury and he's not overreacting with it. If you were in Dillian Whyte's shoes, what would you do knowing that you could go straight into a fight with Tyson Fury after not being able to get a world title shot for so long?
Well, I would say I'm a man of my word and my integrity, and we have a contract signed, and we are supposed to fight. And I would honor that. I'm very serious when it comes to contracts and giving my word on something. I always have my lawyers look through everything before I sign anything, so I know 100% what I need to do. And this is just like basic common knowledge, common sense that you don't sign a contract and then try to get out of it. It's just not who I am.
Joe, I'm sorry to intercede. Joe, did you see Dillian Whyte's quote? I think it was it from The Sun, Otto? It's from one of the English papers where he says, I could just skip Otto Wallin and go straight to Tyson Fury, but I'm a real fighter and I can't wait to see what Tyson Fury is going to do. This was obviously before the fight, before the result of the fight happened. So I got to do my own thing. So the fact that Dillian Whyte had his challenges in his career, getting the title shot or whatever, that's not so relevant in relation to this particular situation. And the WBC made this order after Otto Wallin versus Dillian Whyte was announced. The WBC think that Dillian Whyte was going to beat Otto Wallin. I mean, it's not right for an organization to say that there's going to be one winner that there's going to be a definite winner in a sporting outing. That's not what they're there to do. So we feel that Otto Wallin, even though he's not the WBC interim champion, has all the rights. After the announcement was made, he has all the rights until the fight happens, until the fight takes place, and until a real winner is determined inside the ring. So, listen, injuries happen in boxing. It's obviously right. It's a very high intensity contact sport. So regardless if his injury is intact, the redo should happen either way. But with that being said, we do want to see what the injury is, and I think that the boxing fans deserve to see what the injury is. Oscar De La Hoya was supposed to fight in September against who was he supposed to against the MMA fighter, and he got COVID, and he posted a video of himself in a hospital in a robe, and there was a report that he has COVID, that he's sick, that that certain things happened to him. We haven't seen nothing like that. We've seen nothing like that. We haven't seen any independent doctor report from any hospital to say, you know what, Dillian came here at 9:30 a.m. and he had an MRI and this is the report. We haven't seen it. All we want to see it, and I think that the boxing fans deserve to see it. And I'm sure that or it's very likely that something happened during training, but we just want to see. That's all. When you don't come to school and you say to the teacher, you say, you know what, my mother was not home. I couldn't do homework because the light didn't go on, right? So your mother has to write you a note, or you have to provide some kind of proof that something happened. That's the way that's the way we function in life. We have to show proof. If you didn't do something that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to show proof that this didn't happen. And while I take your word for it, we still want to see proof. So that's all we want. All we want is truth. All we want to see is fairness.
Of course.
But I want to say, regardless of that, if Dillian Whyte is out, if because of his injury he's out for 3 months, I don't know. I don't know the extent of it. We don't know the extent of what happened. We want to know what the extent of the injury is. But either way, the fight should be redone because the WBC made a ruling for the winner of Whyte versus Wallin to fight Tyson Fury, and when that ruling happened, so many people from the boxing community, I believe Frank Warren and Bob Arum and others, have said like, "Man, why are you fighting Otto Wallin? He's gonna beat you." And so what is Otto? Just a stand-in puppet? I mean, come on, man. He's a world-class athlete. So and the WBC, which is an organization that is supposed to run and organize the sport of boxing, and they've been doing a great job. And I think that they're going to make a fair decision on this and raise the sport of boxing to the next level. Because Otto Wallin is a world-class athlete. More importantly, he's a human being that has rights like everybody else. And the right thing has to happen. The right thing has to happen for Otto Wallin, and the right thing has to happen for the sport of boxing.
This question.
And if the right thing doesn't happen, then we're going back 300 years. And this is the wild, wild west, and everybody can do whatever they want. And it's just would be so detrimental to our sport. And I say this as someone who grew up boxing since the age of 13. Boxing is what I know and what I love since I'm a kid. And I feel very passionate, not only about my fighters, but about the right thing happening now as a promoter in the sport of boxing, so that we collectively can progress to the next level and appeal to more and more fans around the world.
If you could both kind of separately talk on this, it seems like it's gotten a little bit more personal now, given the situation and the outcome of the last couple of days.
What do you mean by personal? It's not personal at all. Personal from who? Who? Personal towards who?
Is there any frustration towards Dillian Whyte, given that you don't fully believe the outcome and the injury?
I mean, really, the decision is it's taking Dillian Whyte's rights into consideration as well. If Dillian Whyte was in Otto Wallin's position, then the right thing would have happened for Dillian Whyte. I have nothing against Dillian Whyte at all. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I mean, whatever competitive fury there is between Otto and Dillian Whyte is great and healthy for the sport of boxing and healthy for the fight. That's why it was going to be such a great fight. But the right thing has to happen so that Dillian Whyte is also protected in the future. It's not for Otto. It's not for Dillian Whyte. I have nothing personal against anyone in this situation. I have something for the rules. The rules should be upheld, and the higher standard should be upheld for the sport of boxing. This is not the Wild Wild West. This is not like, okay, man, we can do the fight at Wembley Stadium and sell whatever 30,000 tickets and it'll make $10 million. That shouldn't be the reason for something to happen or for something not to happen. We have rules, and the rules should honor athletes. And athletes have finite lives, and they put so much on the line to make sure that they reach a high level, and certainly for a fight of this magnitude. Otto Wallin finished his training camp. He was on his way to the airport, and this happened. So come on, man.
Mm-hmm. That was a really insightful, in-depth answer. So thanks for that. Last question, Otto. Just kind of how likely right now on the 22nd of October do you think the fight between you and Dillian Whyte happens next?
I think it's likely. It should happen. I mean, it makes the most sense. So I think it should happen, and I think it's likely. I'm just hoping to see them make the right decision here. And I think ultimately they realize that, hey, I got some rights too, and we had a contract signed, and I think they'll come to their senses.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Otto. Joanna? Can you hear? They are unmuted. No, Joanna? Okay, we can come back. Can everybody else hear?
I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah,
David? There we go. David, you have to unmute TT Sport.
Yeah, Don, you wanted me?
You go ahead, Dave. You're up.
Yeah, I actually didn't hear the question, so please let me know.
I would say you had indicated you wanted to ask a question, so. Sorry, not David Berlin, other David. I see you're here, David Hernquist. No, looks like he's trying to come on video. You got to unmute. No, okay. Okay, I think that's those that were present that had indicated wanting to ask a question. Does anybody just kind of open the floor up? Anybody have any follow-ups, any questions that they want to pose now? Just go ahead and jump in if you do. Okay. I will give Johanna Svensson and Otto, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the language here.
Not too bad.
Okay, it looks like Johanna's on, but we can't seem to hear, so we can follow up separate from that. Okay, that said, Otto, just to react for kind of wrap this up a little bit, your reaction to how disappointed Dillian said he was, and he was looking forward to knocking you out in the first half of the fight. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Why would you pull out of a fight and then start talking? I mean, I think that we should have the fight and see what happens. And there's a strong possibility that he's gonna get knocked out. So I think he knows that. I mean, I think that they know this is a tough fight, and I'm just hoping that they're gonna reschedule this fight, and then we're gonna handle it in the ring, and he's gonna find out that I'm ready for this, and he's gonna be taught a lesson.
Awesome. Otto, any final words?
I just want to thank everybody that came out, and thanks to Dmitriy for clarifying things, and thank you, Don, for the help.
Sure. Dmitriy, any final thoughts?
Yeah, thank you all guys for coming. I think you guys all asked very good questions, and I know we'll shed light on this very important initiative and this very important situation. And thank you for caring about our sport of boxing and shedding light on the important issues. Again, this is a very important fight, but we believe that this is bigger than the fight, and hopefully we'll have some good news in the next coming days. Thank you guys, and thank you, Don.